And it's not as if Buckingham Palace is locked up as a mausoleum and they've got to, take off the dust covers for him to stay there. There's plenty of staff there. It does seem a little bit strange, doesn't it? You can see why Harry's team are saying this is kind of, the men in grey suits that Harry has railed against, putting the buffers in the way of this.
Harry's trip back to Blighty is very much back in the headlines, as it's been confirmed that he isn't going to be staying at Buckingham Palace during that trip to London this week. His accommodation arrangements have caused quite the stir after the King reportedly withdrew an offer for the Duke to stay at Buckingham Palace because Harry just hadn't responded in time. A spokesperson for Harry has called that decision disappointing. Do keep up at the back. Sarah Hewson is royal journalist and broadcaster. Hello, Sarah.
Hello to you, Jane.
Gosh, I don't know. We all have occasionally troublesome families, don't we? And I can't be the only person who's quite comforted by the fact that this particular very well-known set of relatives really do struggle to get on with each other. What is going on here?
Oh, it really is a sorry soap opera, isn't it, Jane? And this was supposed to be a trip all about the Invictus Games, Prince Harry's initiative to support wounded service personnel, which is taking place in Birmingham next year. He is marking 1 year before the event. It was also supposed to be a chance for him to bring his family here and for his children, Archie and Lilibet, to see their grandfather for the first time in 4 years. But it has descended into a briefing battle between two houses, between Buckingham Palace and between Team Sussex. So what is happening? Well, Prince Harry is coming to the UK. He is coming to London today without his family with him. He had been offered accommodation at a royal residence. He accepted that offer on Saturday, we understand, but that acceptance came too late. Buckingham Palace said the offer was withdrawn because they couldn't get the hospitality and the staffing in place in time for that. Now, the Duke of Sussex's spokesperson said because Prince Harry had 10 days ago found out that he wasn't going to get Metropolitan Police security arrangements while he was here. He'd spent the whole of last week trying to put his private security arrangements in place. And it was only once that was done that he was able to take up that offer from the royal household to stay at Buckingham Palace. They also say that Prince Harry's legal battle with Associated Newspapers, with the Daily Mail, which comes to its judgment tomorrow, has been cited as a reason that potentially the King wants to keep a distance and not to be seen too close when that decision is being made. So frankly, Jane, it's all a bit of a mess.
Right. Just on that judgment, which is due tomorrow, as you say, is it a coincidence, perhaps an unfortunate coincidence, that Harry is going to be in Britain when that happens?
Yeah, I don't really think it suits anyone because it overshadows what should have been a week about talking about his charity work, and also should have been a chance for him to, we had hoped, repair relations or continue to repair those relations with his father. So I don't think it is particularly convenient for Harry or anyone that he is here in the UK when that decision comes about.
Can I just bring in the listeners, because quite a few people are exercised by this story, even though people often say, I don't know why you ever talk about Harry because I'm not interested. I have to say there is evidence to the contrary. People are interested. That's why we do talk about it. Let's bring in well, the messages have just changed. Oh, James actually just says this story is very dull. But there we are, just contradicted myself. Christine says, I just don't get this miss the deadline thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in families, we all, as I say, we all have rows within families, but we don't have deadlines when we invite family members to come and stay, do we?
And it's not as if Buckingham Palace is locked up as a mausoleum and they've got to, take off the dust covers for him to stay there. There's plenty of staff there. It does seem a little bit strange, doesn't it? You can see why Harry's team are saying this is kind of, the men in grey suits that Harry has railed against, putting the buffers in the way of this. All of this comes down to communication, doesn't it, Jane? And there just aren't those direct, clear lines of communication going on. And there are so so many different levels. This is not an ordinary family. And at the end of it, everybody seems to be losing out.
Ella says, I just think it's a joke that the Met aren't prepared to give Meghan and the kids security if they come over. After all, they gave security to Taylor Swift. It's disgusting behaviour on behalf of the Met and ultimately the King. And then, of course, inevitably, she goes on to bring in Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, who I think continues to benefit from a level of protection, doesn't he? What do you think of that, Sarah?
Well, the Taylor Swift point is valid. During her Eras tour in 2024, she was given taxpayer-funded security. That went through RAVEC, the committee that is deciding and has decided on Prince Harry's. Prince Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, of course, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, his security is now funded privately by the King.
OK, so that's an important point to make. I'm glad you said that, yeah.
Yes. But yes, I do tend to sympathise with Ella's point that, you know, this has been a long-running battle for Harry. Security is a massive issue for him. He doesn't come back that often. And you wonder why, if Taylor Swift is entitled to it, why Harry and his family, when they're coming back for engagements like the Invictus Games, which is really, really worthy and important, why he couldn't just have security and then we wouldn't be in this position that we're in now.
OK, what else have we got here? Rosie says, don't worry, Harry, the Premier Inn is fine. And indeed, I think many people would say, Rosie, that the Premier Inn offers very good value for money. Of course, there are other reasonable budget hotel chains available. Kate says, surely it's just a case of popping some clean sheets on the spare room bed. From Simon, I love it. So Buckhouse couldn't cut a few botties for Harry. Sounds like the worst of British hotels, that the ones that say the restaurant is shut when you arrive late, like Faulty Towers. Actually, isn't it worth pointing out, Sarah, that the King doesn't live at Buckingham Palace anyway, does he? So if Harry were to stay there, he'd probably have the run of the place.
Well, I mean, it does beg the question, doesn't it? What is Buckingham Palace for? Because we've just had, in the financial briefing, we've just had the news that the King and the Queen are not planning to ever live at Buckingham Palace. We know that the Prince and Princess of Wales don't plan to be there either. If you can't put up the King's son when he visits, then that does raise some questions, doesn't it? But I think all of this comes down to Buckingham Palace getting fed up with the toing and froing, the will they, the won't they, and effectively just saying, you know, enough, the deadline's passed, nothing we can do now.
And as you say, the point of all this was to publicise the Invictus Games, which are actually really significant and are one of Harry's big achievements.
This is his greatest legacy project, Jane. This is a huge achievement that he has done and has made a difference to so many lives around the world, given former service personnel, injured service personnel, a real purpose and a focus. And he is lauded for that. It's taking place in Birmingham next year. It's going to be a really big event. And he always marks a year to it, build up to it. And that's what this would be about, focusing on that charity, focusing on the service personnel who are helped by it. But instead, we are right back talking about that ongoing family rift at a point at which we hoped things were moving in the right direction to happier times.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Sarah Hewson is a royal journalist and broadcaster. Gosh, I mean, he does divide people, old Harry. Jane says, who are these saps supporting Harry? He's made his bed so he can lie in it in California. Jamie says, surely decisions on visitors to the UK getting security are taken on the basis of the threat they're assessed to face. If Taylor Swift is under threat, then she should get protection. If Meghan and her children don't face that level of threat, why should they get special treatment?